Hello, my name is MaryD and welcome to my YouTube channel, MaryD Plays. In this video, I'm recording myself playing the Fender app uh, electric guitar rock level 1 course. I've already recorded myself doing course 1, course 2, and course 3. Course 4, I'm going to skip and go to course number 5, set good habit strumming. Now with course number 4, because that's a riff course, they take about 20 minutes to do, and there's more than one riff course in this level. If you scroll down a little bit, there's another riff course. I'm going to record myself doing all the riff courses in one video at a later date. So let's begin with course number 5.
In this lesson, we're going to learn how to strum the guitar. I'll show you how to play with good posture, and then I'll show you how to strum correctly to a simple rhythm. So make sure you're in tune, and let's get started. Let's talk about posture. First, you want to sit up straight at the edge of your chair. Be sure that your feet are planted firmly on the floor. Make sure that you're sitting in a good type of chair that you have room to move around in. Next, you want to hug the guitar into your gut and drape your arm over the body of the guitar. Above all, make sure that you're comfortable. Let me show you how to hold the pick. I think of the pick as an extension of my index finger, and on the other side, my thumb tees across like this. A good tip is to hold your fingers close to the tip of the pick for better control. You don't have to hold it too tightly or too loosely. Now, glide lightly across the strings like this. Try it with me. 1, 2. You're doing great. 3, 4. I'm just moving down to the floor every time. Notice that most of the movement happens with my elbow, and then there's a little bit of movement with the wrist. Now, while you're practicing, if you want to mute the strings, just rest your fret hand fingers across the strings like this. And we move in the same direction. Now, let's try strumming in the opposite direction in an upward motion. This is called an upstroke. So far, we've strummed the guitar using downstrokes and upstrokes. Let's combine the two now to make a simple rhythm pattern like this. Down, up, down, up, down, up. I'm going to add my foot to help me keep the beat like this. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. When my foot goes down, the hand goes down. When my foot goes up, the hand goes up. It's also helpful to count out loud like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and down, up. You got it. You've learned how to strum to a rhythm. Stick with it, and over time you'll learn more patterns and play at different speeds. And before you know it, you'll be on your way. See you next time. I'm going to show you how to play some one-finger chords. First off, what's a chord? A chord is a combination of different notes that are played at the same time. How do you do that on the guitar? You strum more than one string at the same time. So for example, I can strum 3 strings all at once. Some chords require 4, 5, and sometimes all 6. The first chord I want to show you is a G chord. So take your ring finger or third finger and put it on the 3rd fret of your high E string right here. So this is your G chord, and you're going to strum 3 strings, the 3 highest sounding strings of the guitar. It sounds like this. So once again, G chord, first string or high E, 3rd fret. The second chord is the C chord. The C chord, we're going to use the first finger on the 1st fret, not of high E, but the next string, the B string. This one is also just strumming 3 strings. And what happens commonly here is your index finger might relax too much, and you might accidentally mute the 1st string when you strum, like that. Just do your best to arch your index finger, playing right on the tip of the finger. Keep in mind that OK sign with the index finger tip and the thumb pinching together. Thumb behind the neck, of course, and there's our C chord. So let's go back to the G chord. Once again, 3rd fret of the high E string, 3 strings. Again, you may accidentally hit 4 strings, 5 strings. For now, that's okay, because you're concentrating on your fretting hand, and as you practice, you'll get more control of your strum hand.
Let's practice slowly fretting our 1-finger G and C chords. Let's start with G. So we're going to put our ring finger on the 3rd fret of that high E string. We're going to use the tip of our finger to make contact with the string. We're going to arch our finger. And we're going to make sure that our thumb is on the back of the neck, and we've got a straight wrist. So we're going to strum from 3 strings down for our G chord. Now let's try taking that chord on and off 5 times. Take it off, put it back on the 3rd fret. Take it off, put it back on the 3rd fret. Off, then back on. Off, then back on. It's okay to take your time finding your place. Take it off, then back on. Now, let's do the same thing for C. We have the same hand placement rules as before. So our index finger is going to go on the 1st fret of the B string, and we're still strumming from 3 down. So we want to make sure that our finger is still arched and that we're not muting our 1st string for the shape. So let's do the same thing. We'll take off our chord and then find our place 5 times. So off, then on. Then we'll take it off, then back on, then off, back on, off, back on. One last time, off, then back on. Now let's practice our G to C transition. We're going to try this 3 times. So we're going to start on G, then go to C. It's okay to take your time on this. Back to G, then back to C. One last time, G, then back to C. I like to envision the switch before I make it. So when I'm on my G chord, on the 3rd fret, I'm thinking about my 1st finger going down on the 1st fret for the C chord. So back to G, and then C. Back to G, 1st fret on C, G, C, one last time, G to C. when transitioning between chords. With diligent practice, muscle memory will kick in. Great job, and we'll see you next time.
In this lesson, we'll learn about beats and how to play them in time. We're going to learn how to count and strum whole notes, half notes, and quarter notes. Make sure you're tuned up, and let's get started. Now in music, there's almost always an underlying pulse or beat. If you've ever clapped your hands along to your favorite song at a concert, you're clapping along to the beat of the music. Beats are put together in groups called measures or bars, and more often than not, these beats occur in groups of 4. In most songs, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4 over and over to hear and feel these groups of 4 within the music. Now before we play anything, let's go ahead and count out loud from 1 to 4 a few times to a steady beat. Now the goal here is to recognize the pattern within each bar or measure by counting, and then still notice the pattern while strumming the guitar. Try tapping your foot if you can. This will give you a way to feel the rhythm as you play. Get ready, I'll count you in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Now finding the beat is essential when you're strumming the guitar. It'll help you know how long to stay on a chord and how many times to strum each of those chords. Now that you have an understanding of the beat, let's take a look at some basic rhythmic values. Let's talk about whole notes. Now the notes that you play on your guitar are going to be held out for a specific number of beats. The duration of a whole note is going to be equal to 4 beats, which is going to be all of the beats in your measure or bar. Now an easy way to remember a whole note, think about the note taking up the entire measure or the whole measure. So when we strum whole notes, we're going to down strum just once on beat number 1 and count out 1, 2, 3, 4 while the chord rings out. And we're going to use a basic 1-finger G chord. So I have open G, open B, and my 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the high E string. Now allow the chord to sustain like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now go ahead and try that with me. Be sure to count out loud, and if you can, try tapping your foot. I'll count you in. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, the duration of a half note is going to be equal to 2 beats, which is half the number of beats in your 4-beat measure. So rather than strumming once per measure like you did with a whole note, you're going to strum twice per measure like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's use down strums on the half notes with our G chord and still count 1, 2, 3, 4 out loud. We're going to strum on beat 1 for our first half note and beat 3 for the second. I'll count you in. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's go ahead and take a look at quarter notes. The duration of a quarter note is going to be equal to 1 beat. Now if you recall, the whole note is 4 beats. A half note is dividing that in half, so we have 2 beats. A quarter note is dividing that even further, so that equals 1 beat. Now we're going to strum 4 times per measure or bar. It's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Let's down strum quarter notes on our G chord, and we'll count 1, 2, 3, 4 out loud. Be sure to strum on each beat and count out loud. And if you can, go ahead and tap your foot. I'll count you in. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last bar. 1, 2, 3. You've just learned about beats and how to count whole, half, and quarter notes. These are essential building blocks to playing the guitar. Have fun, and we'll see you next time. In this exercise, we'll practice switching between two basic chords while counting and strumming whole notes. Here's what the exercise sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So in the fret hand, we're going to use one-fingered chords. We're going to play G and C. To play G, you have the open G string, open B, and third finger, third fret of the high E. For C, open G, first finger, first fret of the B string, and an open high E. Now in the strum hand, we're going to strum one whole note for the G chord and then one whole note for a C. That means that for each chord, we'll be strumming on beat number 1 and holding it out for 4 beats. It's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's go ahead and play this short progression 5 times in a row. Get ready with that G chord, and I'll count you in. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So G, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 more times. Last one. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whole notes occur everywhere in music. Keep practicing, and we'll see you next time. In this lesson, we'll practice switching between chords while playing a half-note strum. Here's what the exercise sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So in the fret hand, we have our one-fingered G and C chords. For G, we have open G, B, and third fret with our third finger on the high E string. For C, we got the open G, first finger, first fret of the B, and an open high E. For the strum hand, we'll strum 2 half notes on the G chord and then 2 half notes on the C chord. That means on each chord, we'll be strumming twice and holding each strum for 2 beats. Here's what that sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's play our half note strum on G and C 5 times in a row. I'll count you in. 1, 2, ready, go. G, 2, 3, 4, and C, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Third time. Fourth time. Last one. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Keep practicing those half notes. We'll see you next time. In this lesson, we'll practice switching between chords while playing and counting a quarter note strum. Here's what the exercise sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. In the fret hand, we have 2 chords. They're one-fingered G and C chords. For the G, we have open G, open B, and third finger, third fret on the high E string. For C, we got the open G, first finger on the E string, first fret, and open high E. For our exercise, we'll strum quarter notes on the G chord and then quarter notes on the C chord. That means that each chord will be strumming 4 times and holding each strum for 1 beat. Here's what that sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. Let's go ahead and play that quarter note strum with the G and C 5 times in a row. Get ready, and I'll count you in. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Third time. Got 2 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last one. 1, 2, 3. Keep practicing those chord notes and try to count out loud or tap your foot as you practice. See you next time.